Hi, this is The Creativity Show. I'm Bodie Werner, a writer and movie maker, and I'm helping Hi, this is The Creativity Show. I'm Bodie Werner, a writer and movie maker, and I'm helping Clare Cooley share creativity with you. The show will start in a few minutes. Meanwhile, let me tell you the story of how she became a creativity coach. What is a creativity coach, you ask? Well, good question. As she puts it, her job is to help people strengthen their connection to their creativity, the confidence to express it, and the courage to share it with others. She is a National Endowment for the Arts grant-winning author, artist, and creativity coach. In her 20s, she was hired to teach her multimedia arts curriculum, Dancing into the Arts, in a different school each week. She taught all grade levels in the public schools, universities, hospitals, crisis and rehabilitation centers, juvenile halls, women's clubs, and the mental health courts, the clients and the lawyers, probation officers, and judges. Teaching ended up being the way that she went to school, because she stopped attending school regularly at 7 years old. Her inspirational life prompted many people to tell her to write, including me. Many said that her stories had helped them and would help others. The co-founder of the Sundance Film Festival, Serena Catania, called my mother's memoir and art book, Incandescence Rising Above Darkness, an instant classic. When Serena invited us onto her podcast, she said,
"You are describing some of the most difficult situations I've ever heard for a little girl to go through, but it's done in such a positive, lyrical, spiritual way that it really does rise above what was actually happening to you." And I think in that way, it can be very inspirational to people who are having a hard time, no matter what the hard time is. And I'm really highly recommending it.
I agree, and that's why I wrote a screenplay based on her 52 powerful stories. Even her recollections of the terrible things she went through in her dangerous upbringing leave people uplifted because of her spirit. She survived by focusing on serene nature and thrived through creative expression. My script made it to the second round of the prestigious Austin Film Fest script competition. But this isn't about me. Claire's art was selected by the Natural World Museum, and she's done multiple one-woman shows at the Karpellis Museum, including Warblers and Wildflowers and Sentinels of Serenity, Cranes. Also, Claire's art was selected for the juried section of the International Gift Show. Her paintings and china were displayed at the corporate headquarters of Chevron, where she hoped her respect for nature could do some good. Her art was on the cover of the Red Rose catalog, and the Pheasants Forever magazine selected her painting for the Pollinator Print of the Year. She was the featured artist at the Lodi Sandhill Crane Festival. Her portfolio has over 600 drawings, paintings, and etchings. And she's also got an additional 300 plus stencil designs. The limited edition prints that we make ourselves are available on her web store. The link is in the description. Her previous home, 7 Levels, was on the San Francisco Museum of Modern Art gallery tours. The entire interior was an expression of her creativity. She etched wisteria on the glass behind her 4-story copper stair rail vines. She designed and hand-painted furniture. Her table and cabinet were featured in the San Francisco Designer Showcase House. She made chandeliers, fireplace screens, floral and tabletop designs. Jewelry and wardrobe. She designed and hand-carved a 202-piece set of crane china. Each piece was unique, and each dinner plate depicted a different species of crane. Clare's first book was published by Pomegranate Art Books. For her Book of Cranes, she observed all 15 species of cranes. We followed the migration of the sandhill cranes across the country and interviewed nature conservation enthusiasts like George Archibald, the founder of the International Crane Foundation. Experiencing how well we worked together, I asked my mother to combine our complementary skills and named us Mother-Son Productions. The Napa Valley Arts Council asked Clare to do an art performance. Her Freedom Flight performance was dedicated to world peace and included 90 artists and the community who painted silk wings to dance in to live music. Clare's first public art performances were interpreting art at gallery openings. She did dance performances at live readings of children's stories and poetry. Clare and her dance skating partner Lateef Swain performed at Give Peace a Dance. They led the parade for the opening of the California Academy of Sciences. Clare skate danced at Theater Arto in the Nutcracker. Clare played the bamboo flute in the music she produced. She has been interviewed on the Women of Vision television show, on radio, and podcasts. We may not truly see those closest to us until something gives us a new perspective. When I was 16, she asked me to digitize her artistic portfolio, and I was able to take in the depth and breadth of her artistic accomplishments, which inspired my first movie, Life of Art. We chose a historic home by Lake Superior and named it after its original green-colored shingles. Our short documentary, Polishing the Emerald Lady, shows us restoring it. We even turned our over 100-year-old carriage house into the Carriage Creativity Studio, where we make movies, art, and even dance skate. Join Clare's Patreon for free to get ideas, instruction, and inspiration. Upgrade to a paid membership to receive exclusive access to her ever-increasing stencil design SVG catalog. The Creativity Show goes live on YouTube and Twitch, and also Clare Cooley's Patreon, Facebook, and LinkedIn profiles. You can send stars to support her work here on Facebook, or donate through Venmo or PayPal. The links are in the description. You can contact me by email, mothersonproductions@gmail.com, with any questions. Now remember, please leave a comment, like, subscribe, tell a friend, and thank you for being here. Audio, probably. Can you hear me? All right, computer, turn on Office. Okay, how is it going, everybody? Excuse us. We're getting back into the swing of how these live streams work. There she is over there. I'm going to make sure her audio is connected, and then we're going to get started. Okay. Hello, hello. That should work. Okay, I see you now have audio. So,
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you to the Minnesota Arts Board for the grant to do this series of live streams that are illustrating my life story, doing the art in front of you. And thank you, Bodhi, for that wonderful introduction. Really appreciate you adding your technical expertise, the area that I am not fluid in. I love to support his creativity, and he supports mine. And I love being the business that he suggested and named Mother Son Productions. And we love helping each other take our love out of our heart and give it to the world through our art. That rhymed. Okay, so today is the first painting illustration for my life story. Wow, what a privilege, what an honor, what a daunting, potentially nerve-wracking idea it is to illustrate one's life story. But being someone who loves helping others to express their creativity, I have to be my own creativity coach at times and say, you get to explore your imagination. You get to express your creativity. You don't have to stay in the critical voice, which everyone has, including me, and doubt yourself. You get to just play. You get to enjoy the process. And if you enjoy the process of creating and sharing it, you have won and you get this fulfillment because there will be people that appreciate it, that are moved by it, that have their hope increased as creativity does for all of us. Art helps us get through the rest of it, which is why it's so important in my life, why my memoir has 68 pieces of art, all inspired by nature, the best designer. And it's what helped me get through all my difficulties, and that's what I want to share. Still helping me through difficulties, that's what I want to share. It's what helps us come together at a time where division is extremely challenging. And what we have in common is we all want to feel safe and cared about and appreciated. And so what brings us together is feeling purpose and love and compassion. So that's what art gives me, and hopefully you, my art, your art. So we're going to get into this first illustration of my life story. And I did some before this live stream, and we're going to show it now, and then I'm going to work on it in front of you.
Great. 1 sec. I'll put a little music on.
Alrighty.
Start it. Yeah.
So here we go. Oh, nice. See it. So first, I'm putting the watercolor paper into water in the bathtub. So we're going to getting it wet on both sides, getting it into the tub, and then I'm going to put it on my masonite board and put tape around it while it's wet. And what it does is that it dries as the paper gets wet, the watercolor dry, it will be covered. It will hopefully be smooth and tight like the top of the leaf. And here I'm beginning this watercolor process. I love that. We all life forms need water to survive. I believe that's true. And I'm sure someone will tell me if there is a life form that doesn't need water to survive. Perhaps there are bacteria or viruses. Mostly all life needs water. It's available. that covers more of this planet than the land does, and it flows. And it can be guided, but it can't be controlled. And that's sort of my comfort is that I know that basically everything we can control is our actions. We can choose our actions. We can't choose our thoughts or feelings or what happens around us, but we can guide our choices and choose our actions. So everything else will go with the flow. So that's part of the reason I love water. It's also so organic, and as I said, nature is the best designer. So I'm inspired, and it's my teacher, and ever will be, because there's endless designs in the universe, floor, everything. So I love watching the way water flows and pigments combine and flow in the water, and guiding it to express what I'm hoping to express. And this first illustration is about beginnings. And in the center of the circle is a fetus, a human fetus, the beginning, the most vulnerable, the biggest potential of any human life begins there with the fetus. And so it's the beginning of illustrating my life story here in the universe with all of the rest of us. And I thought that this was going to be different when I imagined. I sketch in my mind most of the time. Sometimes I do some text, especially if I'm writing idioms, which I'm going to do a little bit of today live, using some acrylic on top of the watercolor. Because what happened when I started working on this, it showed me, which is what I love to do with life and art, is follow what it's teaching me. And I thought I was going to do something very different than I now am doing with this piece, because when I put it out there and step back from it, which perspective break I always try to give myself whenever I need it, walk away from it and come back with fresh eyes, not thinking about it, not trying to solve problems or make it what I want it to be, but let it become what it can be. And it reminded me, it felt like the primordial soup before the universe, as our scientific discovery has, most people who have studied this agree, the earliest universe was gaseous, and it didn't have any solidity. It didn't have any matter that was not gas, and could create the heavenly bodies that later came with the universe. It first burst into this gaseous primordial soup, and that's what this piece looked like. I thought it was going to go a different way, but I looked at it and I went, that's what's happening, I'm going to go with that. So I'm going to continue that in front of you when this time lapse of what I did in the last couple of days ends. I'm going to work on this piece in front of you and show you.
Can I interrupt for a sec?
Sure.
So Michael said, so glad to see you're back. Hello, Michael.
Hi, Michael. Thank you. It's I've missed you, and I've missed connecting with each and every one of you this way. So thank you for speaking up. I appreciate that.
And then Cody is here. Great to see you, Cody. Cody helped us on our recent film project on Girl Scout and Tomboy. You were there on set.
Nice. Well,
Yeah.
thanks
And
for being here, and thanks for all your help on Bodie's work. And we're loving helping each other keep going with our creativity, and hopefully bringing out some positive stuff to the world that always needs it, and especially now. So
yeah, and so we are live on YouTube. Facebook is giving us a little bit of trouble. Just come on over to the YouTube, everybody, and thank you guys for being here. Great to see you. We're getting back into the swing of things.
great. Well, it is fun and inspiring to start these again, and I'm so grateful to, once again, the Minnesota Arts Council. Is that what it's called? Did I get that right?
Minnesota State Arts Board.
Minnesota State Arts Board for this grant to illustrate my life stories, and I'm taking on this challenge of sharing my story. Our story is what we alone have to give to the world. Nobody else can give our story to the world like we can, because we've lived it, and it is our story. And I think everyone who shares their perspective and what they've learned through what they've lived enhances the world, and the human consciousness, collective unconscious, gets to grow, and it's a gift we can give the world. So I encourage you to share what you alone know, your truth, your perspective. And this primordial soup, beginning of my life, beginning of the universe, really reminded me of what I believe. And I do know I choose to believe it because it's a belief, not a fact. What was there before the Big Bang? Of course, everybody pretty much has thought of that question. And many people believe what their parents or their community or their religion they were born into believes, and that's fine if we keep the humility to accept that it's a belief, not a fact. And I ask myself, does my belief help me? Does it help others? Does it hurt anyone? And if it is, yes, it helps me, it can help others, and it doesn't hurt anyone, and I accept that it is my belief, I'm good with it. So my belief is, before the Big Bang, it was love. And the reason I believe it was love is that love doesn't have any physical form. So after the biggest black hole in the universe has consumed all the other black holes and condensed that particle down to the tiniest possible particle, with this energy that could not be destroyed because it's love. And love doesn't have a physical form, it is a feeling. And so it couldn't be crushed into nothingness. And it became so energetic as it was reduced to this increasing in energy particle, that it exploded into this gaseous hydrogen helium universe of primordial soup, until the science says a wave, a vibration went through the universe, and it coalesced these gases into form, which then over time became heavenly bodies, which over billions of years then became our solar system and our planet, and then billions of years later became life on our planet, which maybe came from somewhere else in the universe, on a asteroid or meteor and landed on Earth and then became life here. And the other reason I think it was love is, what does love want? It wants to be shared. It wants to be given. It wants to be received and reciprocated. So that would make form necessary and life necessary in order for love to get what love seeks, which is to be received and returned. So I know it's my belief system, but who does it hurt? No one. Who does it help? Me. Maybe it'll help others. And it doesn't disagree with any religions, which have their beautiful purpose in bringing people together and creating community. And what do religions have in common? This idea that we should treat others as we'd like to be treated. So that's all good and beautiful. And what I'm most interested in is what brings us together and what we have in common and what is positive. So there you go. I had no idea all this was going to happen in my heart and head when I started this painting, but it did. So I wanted to share that with you. And I'm going to get the painting and continue working on it in front of you as soon as this that we recorded yesterday, which is getting close. So maybe I'm going to go get the painting while this is finishing up and put it on my table.
So, Lone Guns asked, how do you choose your...
I'm getting an echo because the office is open, so I couldn't hear that.
How do you choose your colors?
Instinct. I try to, while doing any creative endeavor, whether it's painting or dancing or playing the flute or writing, I try to follow feelings. I think feelings are authentic, and thinking about things can be very, well, it can be full of doubt and critiques. And so I try to feel it out. And what I saw when I did this, and I just, go to my colors, which I'm going to show you how I spread them out to get started, and then let whatever instinct I have for whatever color and however much just unfold. And I go on the journey of where this piece of art's going to take me instead of trying to control it. And that's my way. And it doesn't have to be anyone else's way. Everyone can have their own way. But I like being on the mysterious journey of seeing where it'll go. That makes it really fun for me. And life has got a lot of challenges and difficulties and things that aren't fun. So I love to feel the joy of creativity and the play in it. And that's where children are all creative. Well, mostly some of them have been locked down by sad things in their life, but mostly children can all dance, color, and write a poem about the dance, and then make music to the poem. They can just explore because they're not full of, I'm not good enough doubts, and, what if people make fun of me? So I try to help people no matter what age they are. I feel like I'm a kindergarten teacher for all ages. Let's just play, let's explore, let's pick the color that says, pick me. And stop when it says that's enough, and then go to the next color and blend. And and just continue on this journey of seeing what the piece will become. And not let the critical, fear-based need to control that we all have. So when my critical voice comes up before doing art, I say it's my time to play and enjoy this. So you're not needed now, critical voice. And if it comes back, I say, perhaps you didn't hear me, you're not needed now. So if you can't observe quietly without making critical comments, you'll have to leave. And if it comes back the third time, I say, get the F out. And I am very stern with my critical voice, so it will leave me alone to let me play. And that's perhaps one of the most helpful things I know from all I've created is sometimes we have to be stern with the negativity and not let it take charge. The world is full of negativity, but we don't have to let it be in charge of us. So, all right. I think we're getting close to the end of this, and then we can start doing some in front of you. So,
It's 8. Got a few more minutes.
Okay, well, I think can wrap it up now and move to, can you come out here and we can show the creativity cabinet?
Yes.
Where people say this to me a lot, that I'm unusually prolific and various kinds of creative expression, and that I'm organized. Well, they kind of all go together. So I'm going to show you how I organize. And Bodhi's going to follow me over to what I like to call, when he was a little boy, this was a regular entertainment cabinet with the screens for the movies and such. Now it's what I like to call the real entertainment cabinet, our own imagination. So it's full of tools and materials and supplies for any kind of creative urge I get. So I like to show how it's organized. Pencils and paints and inks and pens and brushes, and even my stationery and book designing tools and clay carving tools and musical instruments. So sort of a bit of everything. And now this, I think, is really charming, if I do say so myself, which is heavy. I'm going to be very careful. And you're going to show this, which is actually pizza. It's actually a pizza stand, which has the different colors of paints. There's the blue and the oranges and the yellows and the browns and greens and blacks and purples. So I can spread them out on my stools over here. But I'm going to go for white. When I realized this primordial soup, pre-stars, solid material in the universe, I thought, well, it needs to be more monochromatic, since hydrogen and helium, the first elements of the universe, had no color. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to white it. Oh, let me get my brushes from my cabinet and show you how I do that.
You want me to film the cabinet?
Yeah,
You just bring them over to underneath
that's how.
the overhead camera.
Okay. So here's my brushes container.
Nice.
This is something I carved many years ago. Let's see if I put a date on it. No. So I like being organized enough so that I can have more time to play and not needing to be so organized, being bothered by disorder, that I'm spending so much time organizing that I don't have enough playtime. No, just organize enough so there's more time to do the more enjoyable things in life, like create and share it. So that's my philosophy. But I, like everyone, can get overwhelmed. And when I get overwhelmed, I organize something and it helps ground me. And then the next time I go to create, something else is organized. Any questions? I'm happy to answer.
What's your art routine, and how do you stay motivated to keep doing it regularly?
How do I stay motivated? What's my routine?
You got it.
Well, I somewhat tongue-in-cheek say I'm chronically creative because it's what gives me happiness, and I deserve to be happy because I wish happiness for everyone. So I know that, and I don't always know what I want to create or how to create it. I just know that it makes me happy to create. So I give space and time for it. And sometimes I have to kick myself in the booty to get going. And sometimes I have to hold myself back from keeping going and overdoing it. I have all that variety of responses. But I know being in creative reverie is restorative, it's meditative, it's the opposite of stress. And like everyone, stress happens in my life. And so it's medicine. And so I try to keep it going, and I try to stop when it's done instead of overwork it, and move to something else. So I almost always have more than one thing going at a time creatively, so that when it does feel like time to take a perspective break or stop, I don't have to get sad about that. So this is acrylic paint on top of watercolor. And even though helium and hydrogen, the first gases in the universe, were colorless, hey, it's creative license to give it some color. And I get
Another question, what do you do when you make a mistake on a piece?
well, it's only a mistake if we define it as such. And I just try to go with it, let it, like, dance was the first form of creativity that the first way I expressed myself. And with dance, you do a move, it's part of the dance. And so we have to go with it. And So I think I learned young that we can go with anything. We can let it become part of the expression instead of define it as a mistake. And I've told this story before, but one of my most popular pieces of art, I remember while I was doing it, saying to Mama Bird, "You look like a pincushion instead of a bird." Well, she's one of my most popular pieces of art, and at the time I was kind of annoyed at her because she wasn't the way I thought I wanted her to look, but these years later, I love her just the way she is. So at the time I thought it was a mistake, and then I come to realize, no, it wasn't. So we can, sometimes creativity comes from such a deep place, we don't recognize it until later. And we need to give it space.
So clearly, part of your process is improvising as you go. Um, but do you suggest people go in with more of a game plan, or have a really set idea? How do you give people advice on improvising in art versus going in with an idea, plan?
The only advice I would give is what makes you happy. And if having more of a plan makes you happy, gives you the security to begin, then do that. If letting plans and recipes go and just putting it together in the moment makes you happy, do that. And what doesn't stop you, what keeps you going is what you should do more of. And what thwarts you, try to let go of. And the critical voice, this isn't good enough, that doesn't really look like, I could get all critical about this. Hydrogen and helium don't have color, but you've got color in this. So what? It's art. I get to do what I want. It's my art. So critical voice, leave me alone. That's what I say. But everybody is unique. We're all made out of the same components, but we're put together in our own special configuration, our own unique combination. So what works for you? And the most creative people, I have heard this from many different sorts of creative and intelligent, from comedians and actors and movie makers and writers and painters. It's playful. So that's why kids can try anything. I remember teaching, writing the curriculum, Dancing into the Arts, and I work with first graders and second graders, third graders, fourth graders, fifth graders, and then I'd go to the university in the evening and I'd say, let's dance color. And the university students would be like, well, what is the purpose of this sometimes? And how do you do this? And I'd say the first graders just did it. So let's try to just do it. And not need all the answers before we even ask the question. What good is it? We'll find out when we do it. And there you go. What works for you to keep you from stagnating in doubt? And Carl Reiner, who made more television shows than anyone else, he had a done and next. So do it and then move on. Let go. Did that. Move on to what's next. And I usually, just like this project, I have gonna do 20 live streams, and I have laid out 14, 15 different subject themes, but not overly described for the illustrating my life story. And so, I've got the next piece of paper stretched, so I can go to it as soon as this needs a perspective break. So I don't overdo it. Don't lose I have a couple principles. One is don't lose the light. So don't go so far that you can't go back, because you've lost the light. So this is, I think, just got there to where now I want a perspective break, meaning I'm gonna leave it alone and move on to what's next, which I'm going to show you a little bit of a test I did before doing this. Which I'm going to put this on the floor. And then this, is that working?
Yeah, let me come get it closer since it's small.
Okay. Now this was a test I did to I used Mystic, which is kind of a, I'm not sure exactly what it's made out of, but you can put it on there and then the water and pigment will not run into that space, and then you can rub it off afterwards. And then I realized, well, I could do that making these stars with the acrylic paint. So I'm going to do that.
Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit here. Nope. Let's bring the camera down.
Woo!
Pretty cool.
Okay, so then there's this. Just using the acrylic paint that's left on this brush to make more stars. It's kind of fun. And this little infant that in a nest made of light strands out in space was a test I did that gets to turn into a piece of art too. So here we go. And questions, and how's the time? I lose track of time when I do art, so
12:50.
wow. It's creative reverie. One of the proofs of it being a meditative process is I always lose track of time as soon as I start doing art. Okay, so any questions before we
Yeah.
wrap this up?
Yeah, so we got somebody emailed in some questions. Firstly, they'd love to see close-up pictures later, and their question is, will you finish the painting today?
No, I will not finish it today because I always take a perspective break, but I probably, most likely will finish it on Sunday in front of the camera.
Cool.
Sunday and Wednesday are the live streams at noon, and I'm going to sneeze.
Gesundheit.
Thank you. They say 3 is good luck. Okay.
Okay.
And yes, we will show close-ups, especially at the end when is done. And sometimes I literally have done some art that happened in a couple minutes, and then I've done art that took months or years, put it away and got it out again and looked at it and realized what it needed to be finished. So it's unpredictable, but I'm okay with that. But I am going to finish these in front of the camera, and show them in detail during this series. Okay?
Fantastic. Do you ever teach workshops or lessons?
Yes, and I love to teach. I love to share the positive, healing, helpful energy of expressing our creativity. Expressing emotions stimulates our immune system, and art is the way to express any and every emotion respectfully with no one getting hurt, and stimulate our immune systems and heal ourselves and help ourselves. And I like to use creativity to, like to make the jewelry I'm wearing, the stencil on this outfit that I did. I like to use creativity to make anything and everything I can to have the lovely things in my life that I want to have without having to necessarily spend money. I often, only buy used clothes, and then I make it into something unique. And so I have more time for art because I don't need to spend money on jewelry and clothes and things like that. So I have more time for healing art, and I have more in my life that I consider beautiful, inspired by nature and my love of life. So I think that's enough for today. I'm going to finish this infant in the nest in front of you probably on Sunday, and the fetus in the orb on Sunday's live stream, so you can see a couple pieces of art finished in front of you.
Fantastic. Well, great job on your first live stream back. And there were some technical glitches. That's all my fault. But I really loved watching you make some beautiful art.
Well, thank you very much for your help, Odie, and thank you everyone who tuned in. And please, you can see these afterwards anytime. So if the timing doesn't work out for being live, you can see them later. You can share them with friends. Please tell your friends. Art helps us all keep hope, and we need that, and we need to come together and not fight over ideas and be divided by people that think that's to their advantage to divide us. Let us not let them. It's small thinking, and it doesn't help the world. So let us not do that. All right.
Okay, great. I think we'll end it there.
Thank you and see you Sunday.